What's up, y'all? All right. Well, that was that beat. Let's play one more, and then we're gonna get into it. Hope everyone's chilling. All right. What else we got here? Yes, loose changes. Oh, no. That's the wrong one. What about this one? Nice. All right. So yeah, just trying to finish my coffee before we get started here. But yeah, that was just a couple beats I made on previous streams. Hope you all were vibing with those. Hope everyone's chilling. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started here and start cooking up something from scratch. So let me go to new project here. All right, and we will take a look at the sample that is on the docket for today, which if you do not know, you can download on the Patreon, free, doesn't cost you a penny. You just gotta sign up for it, and then you can access all the samples that I use on the live streams. Well, I started doing it like maybe a couple weeks ago or something, so there's a decent amount of stuff to work with there. So if you're looking for samples, check out the link in bio. Okay, let's get started here. So to do, and then this is the one. So let's take a listen. So yeah, pretty chill. Got that nice flute on there, and should be fun to chop up. So without further ado, let's get to chopping. So I'm about to lazy chop this boy. Which yeah, if you're not familiar with M8, you can do that by basically as you're holding play, when you tap edit and you have the slice marker parameter highlighted, it'll put slice markers in. So very convenient. Gotta move this one up though. Kind of want it right when that like drum hits, basically. There it is. It's always nice when you can rely on the transients to help you out. This is a big slice though. I might put something in between this. That sounds about right. Yo, Simon Lane. Dude, what's up, man? How's it going? It has been a moment. I've been good, chilling. How about you? How are things going on your end? You still lo-fi 12XTing it up? You got any new gear you're working with? What's cracking? Okay, so let's keep going here. I feel like there was one of those kick drums here. It's a nice kind of like strum. Bring. Wow, got that one right on the money. Interesting little pop there. Okay, I think these slices will work. Let's just kind of run through them though. Oh crap, I screwed that up. All right, that sounds chill. I'll probably have to put some attack on it just to get rid of some of those pops and whatnot, but more than adequate, I would say. Dude, yeah. So Simon says, yes, sir. Good to hear that. Yep. Took a step back from beat making, right back on the XT. Dude, that's what's up. Yeah, sometimes you got to take a break, recharge, unwind. It's okay to not be creative for a little bit if it helps you kind of get your juices back, if that's the appropriate expression. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see here. And then, yeah, I got to set slice to 0, 1 file so that we are using those markers that I just added there. And then now, let me see if I can just kind of put some of these down and see what's what. Yo, what's good, bruv? Dude, I'm chilling. How about you? What's good with you, bruv? Dude, I like this slice. This slice sounds sick. Copy that. And then maybe do pitch down. Where's my PIT command? There it is. But yeah, Simon's saying, what equipment are you cooking on these days? Yeah, man, I've been on a bunch of wild stuff here, but what I've been vibing on the most lately, to be honest with you, is using the, here, let me turn off my my little M8 window here so you can see. So yeah, Lo-Fi 12 XT has been fun. Dude, I've been using this thing as like a MIDI controller basically to control the 1010 black box. Dude, that I've been vibing on that combo like hard. Like that stuff is sick. Cuz this thing is such a great, like, you know, it's got the pads and it's super easy to just like play stuff like across the keyboard or whatever. And it's got good sequencing too, because it's got all these numbered buttons. So I really like sequencing on this, but then using it to control the black box. Yeah, man. It's been sick. Definitely check out, if you see like some of my other streams, like I think my last stream that I did, it was black box and Lo-Fi 12 XT. Dude, I've been cooking with gas on that thing. It's pretty dope. Because the thing about the black box is it's got like, you could do like, it's got stereo, so it's not mono like the Lo-Fi 12 XT. You can do, it's a lot easier to load samples on it too. So it kind of like, in my eyes, it sort of addresses some of the shortcomings of the Lo-Fi 12 XT, which is things like mono. It's not super easy to like have different samples trigger on the same track. So yeah, black box and this thing has been pretty sick. In fact, speaking of using this thing as a MIDI controller, let's do that. So yeah, it's super easy to have this send MIDI to other devices like the M8. You just have to make sure you're on the right channel here. So each track has its own MIDI channel. So I'm going to change the MIDI channel of track number 8. And I'm going to set this to track 9, or channel 9, I mean. And then basically that'll let me play the slices here. It should. You can see it's triggering notes. Let me bring this back up. I just have to move down on the octaves because it's too high up. But one of the issues is, like, you can see with the M8, it doesn't like play the slice all the way through. It stops when I let go. So I have to do this like envelope thing, which is not, it's not too tricky. But yeah, we're going to do ADSR and then just max out all this stuff. And this will make it so when I press the pad, it'll play the slice all the way through. Yeah, so Lo-Fi 12 XT, it's a pretty good MIDI controller, to be honest with you. And you can do MIDI over USB too. So depending on what you're connected to, it doesn't work on the M8 because it can't be a MIDI host. But But with the black box, you can actually just plug a USB cable from Lo-Fi 12 XT into the black box and control it. So yeah, man, Lo-Fi 12 XT is a good MIDI controller. Definitely plug it into your other gear if you haven't done so already, and see how it works. Okay, so let me remind myself where we're at here. And then yeah, so I gotta change some settings here to make it so that there's not that off thing. So that would be the rec delay / off. So I'm just gonna have it record the delay, but not the off. So that way it doesn't do the note release thing, since I want it to kind of sustain through anyways. Not gonna make too big of a difference here, but something I'm gonna do. And then Juicy Reynolds writes in and says, it would be sweet if you would demonstrate sampling while playing arrangement using the quick render. Sampling while playing the arrangement using the quick render. Yeah. You're talking about, you're talking about rendering something and then having that turn into a sample, right? I think I know what you're talking about. I'll save the project really quick and then we can go into that. So, oh, whoops. All right, so I'm gonna load a different project. In fact, we were just listening to this one. Oh, like playing a synth live and then recording it, basically. Oh, dang. Yeah, let me try doing that. Just gotta get plugged in here. Give me a second. All right, so we're gonna do line in into M8. And then we're gonna have that go into the Lo-Fi 12 XT. Yeah, no sweat, man. Okay, and then let's load up sound on the Lo-Fi 12 XT. So I gotta do that real quick. All right, so shift sound, bring in, we'll do some synthesis here. Load it up. I don't even know what kind of wave this is. All right, and we cannot hear it, and that's because I need to turn up the input. Okay, so now we can hear it, which is good. Yeah, kind of a goofy sound. Okay, so we've got that going. Back to M8 here. Okay. So let's say we've got a section that we want to play this synth sound on. So what you have to do is, let me just copy, or let me figure out what are the drum sounds here. Yeah, I'm going to copy this, paste it, and then okay, so I've got my drum pattern going here. I'm really not good at playing keyboard, but let's say that I want to record the synth with the drums going. So basically what you do is you have to highlight the section that you want to hear, or actually, maybe you don't have to do that. Maybe you just highlight a blank section and then you press edit twice. And so basically what this is doing is it's bringing you to a menu where you can determine what kind of render you want to do. So one would be like just recording the internal audio. One would be recording the internal audio at not an accelerated rate, just in real time. But this is the external USB option. What this allows you to do is, while the song is playing, you can play stuff over it. So this is what Juicy Reynolds is asking about. So if I select this, basically it's going to play the part of the song that I'm at, and then I can add notes over it. Okay, it did not do that. Maybe I have to do this. So you highlight the ones that you want to hear, press edit twice, and then press external USB. So yeah, that's, I guess, what it sounds like. And then let me take a look at the instrument and see what it did. So this is it. So yeah, it doesn't have the drums in it. It's just the synth that we were hearing. So this is a pretty good start. And then basically what you do is add it in as add it into the phrase, I guess. And then put a bunch of like blank stuff after it. Something like that. It's hella loud. Stay quiet. So yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense? I feel like I did not demonstrate that well. But yeah, so basically just to recap, if you want to record an external synth while your pattern's playing, you highlight the pattern you want to do, edit twice, external USB, and then from there you just kind of play over it and it creates a sample. Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'm glad that helped. And yeah, that's kind of like a critical workflow when it comes to using external audio sources and adding them onto your M8 arrangement. And then another trick that you could do, or not trick, but the next step you could do basically is, so this pattern that I was playing over, it's 4 bars or 4 phrases, right? So what I could do is, for this new sample render that was created, I can do slice 04. And basically what that means is that each of the slices will start at the beginning of the bar. So I can kind of like control like what aspects of it I want to play. So let's say we've got this phrase here, 90, right? 90. Oh yeah, and then I have to bring this all the way down. Oh yeah, and then transpose is always turned off. Yeah. So let's see. So yeah, if you use the slice as well, you basically get a little bit more control of how you want the part that you recorded to be incorporated into the sequence. So it can be an easy way to, get to certain parts that you played and have them play at certain points. So yeah, after you render, just do slice and then set it to however many phrases that you recorded. And that'll make it so that each slice starts right at the beginning of the phrase. So you can kind of like chop your own rendering is basically what that's doing. But yeah, and then Sidesi's saying, I keep having to put like a blank chain, like 00 for new thing to trigger later on in the song. Does that sound right? Like a blank chain for a new thing to trigger. Yeah, I mean, the way it works is, if you have stuff that's like showing up a little bit later, it's, like if it plays from here, like at 10, it's basically just going to keep looping 10. So if you had something like way down here, for instance, like say I wanted to trigger like whatever, B0 later on, you would have to put stuff in between this so that as it's moving through the sequence, it'll eventually get to that point, which means you might have to put, some empty ones in there so that it'll eventually get to the one that you have all the way at the bottom. So yeah, that's normal behavior. And I think the reason why it does that is so that you can have things that are kind of separated and isolated. These are sometimes referred to as islands. It's basically like a small section of a song that you can, I don't know, some people use it as a sandbox almost, like they'll render certain sections that have, you know, certain phrases on them or chains or whatever, so that they can, yeah, basically mix stuff down and be more efficient with the track usage and stuff. So yeah, if you want something to play later on, you have to like make sure that the sequencer can get to it by having the column filled with something, even if it's empty, like 0, 0 or whatever. It has to have something that it can move down to eventually get to the point that you're looking for. Yeah, it's a little tricky, but yeah, once you get like familiar with it, I'm sure it'll be second nature. But yeah, that's just the way it works. Okie dokie. All right. Or actually, there might even be like FX commands that you can put into the sequence that move the song row further down. I'm actually not super familiar with that, but that could be something to look into too. If you want to skip the whole, like, fill it with empty chains, there might be a way to like move it down with an FX command. Okay, let's get back on track here. Happy to answer questions though. Okay, yeah, we're gonna lose changes. This is the one I was working on. And we had just put some sample chops down and we need some drums now. We'll start with a snare. Kind of like this one. Let's throw it in. Dude, Akrasia. Watch some of your tutorials. Good stuff. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for saying that. I'm always glad to share the knowledge. Are you M8 user? Are you Lo-Fi 12 XT? What discipline do you come from? Dude, nice. Heck yeah, that's what's up. All right, let's get a kick drum next. Nice. Heck yeah. Yeah, speaking of all-in-one carry-along, very compact. Just throw it in your pocket, or you keep it in the case, and you can take it wherever you want. So I definitely get that vibe, for sure. All right, this kick needs a little oomph, so let's hit it with the EQ. All right, pretty chill. Let's do hi-hat next. And yeah, the drums are a little quantized on the grid. We're gonna get micro timing in the mix shortly. This one, it sounds a little tinny. I might have to put a filter on it or something to get it to match, or maybe I'll pitch it down. Okay, let's get some micro timing here. And the way we're going to do that is with special table configuration, my favorite table configuration, and it's called the micro time configuration. I found this on the Dirtywave Discord, so definitely check that out because there's like a ton of good knowledge there for how to do stuff and helpful community and all that. But yeah, this table I did not design. I found it on there, and we're going to copy and paste it into the, we'll start with the hi-hat, because that one will be easiest to kind of hear what's going on. Hi-hat, where art thou? There we go. I'll paste it in. And yeah, basically the way the table works is you can set the playhead to start at a certain row of this table, which will then nudge the note back a little bit. So I'll show you how it works here in just a second. And you have to use this command called THO, table hop, which moves the playhead, like I said, to a certain row of the table. So we're going to put that on all these. And then take a listen. So this is with it off. And then on. It's subtle, but it sounds good. Let's do that to the kick too. do it to the snare too. Alright, let's do something a little more creative with the sample chops. Usually I just get something basic down so I can kind of build a drum kit around it and make sure the sounds match. So let's come back to those and see if I can play something more interesting. I only have like 7 slices on this sample, so it's not as easy to like play something interesting using the MIDI controller. So I think I'll just work on the M8 with the sequence at this point. Let's start from scratch here. So we'll do 11. Dang it. Okay. Alright, so we can really jazz it up though, because right now I'm just playing the slices as I laid them down, but we can really mix it up by using the STA command. STA is in the instrument, and what this is going to do is it's going to control where the sample starts playing from relative to the slice. So right now we've got this slice, and STA is at 0, so it's starting right at the beginning of the slice, but we can start it halfway through the slice by setting it to 8-0. Or we can nudge it around in all kinds of ways by using different values. So we'll have it start at the beginning, but then I'll put some of these at the quarter notes and just kind of throw some random values in and see what it sounds like. So the slice kind of falls short here. It doesn't sustain through till the next slice. And what I'm going to do is extend it a little bit by using a reverse command. So the PLY FX. And what this will do is when the sequencer gets to this point, it'll start playing the sample backwards. So I think that'll allow me to kind of like have the chop sort of, it'll create kind of a ping pong loop basically. Well, let's see if it works actually. Gotta mess with the timing though. Sounds pretty chill. And then, yeah, I should probably sequence some chops to come after this. I feel like usually I get into a mindset where I just keep this looping, but let's do one more 4-bar section after this one. Whoops. Maybe I could just do like variations of this one. Maybe that's less complicated. All right, so I'm going to clone this, or I'm going to deep clone it. So you do Shift Option Edit Edit. And so what that does is it clones the phrase. So basically it keeps all of these, but it creates new copies of these. So it's got the same like STA commands and slices that I put in there, but they're basically just different phrases. So I can do different things in them. And I'm going to try and put some like different pitches in here just to kind of jazz it up a little bit. Or maybe I don't have to have some of these start commands come in. All right, so kind of a cheap way to add variety there is to just pitch everything down 2 semitones, but we take those. So yeah, I've got phrase 11 here, which is doing just the sample chops that I mapped out, and then 13 is it's just pitched down a little bit. So I think that'll be chill. Let me check up on the chat here though. Tristan Baldy says evening. Dude, what's up? Good evening. It's just about noon here, but I hope you're having a good night and had a good day so far. And then Acracia says, any ideas experience using grooves to make odd time signatures like 19, 16, 23, 16, etc. Dude, I wish that I could point you in the right direction on that. It's like polyrhythms and different grooves and stuff like that. Odd time signatures. It's just beyond me. It's like, it blows my mind. I know how to do basic polyrhythm stuff, but yeah, different time signatures are tricky. So I would say definitely look at the Dirtywave Discord, see if anyone there's got some tips for you. I think they do have some resources about like certain certain groove configurations that can get you to that point. I know it has something to do with, where is this? Look at this. I don't even know how to get to the groove settings. It's embarrassing. Here we go. It has something to do with like where it says total at the bottom. So total 96. I think there's a way where you can like manipulate these values, but you want to make sure that the total is like staying the same, like it's always 96, because that'll like, I don't know, man, I'm talking about stuff I'm not super familiar with, but I think that's one part of it, is making sure that your whatever adds up to a certain number that'll create the interval that'll make things play at the rate that you're looking for. So yeah, my advice, check out the Discord and see if anyone's got any better advice, basically. Okay, so I think we're ready to start adding some more layers here. And I think the bass line's probably next. So yeah, I don't know what key the sample's in. I'm gonna have to kind of blink it out, but one of the advantages of using a MIDI controller is that, yeah, I can kind of just play the bass using keys instead of having to program it in. And I'll show how it works recording the MIDI externally, which is pretty simple. But yeah, definitely a perk of using this thing with a MIDI controller is you get to get a little bit more expressive playback. But yeah, Tristan Baldy saying, passing to say I stumbled across your Grooves video earlier, enjoyed it a lot. As a longtime M8 user, wish I'd always stuck with 5.7 and 4.8, 8.8, 8.0, but yours was pretty advanced. Oh, nice. Dude, I gotta check out that video. Sounds sick. I need to learn more, basically. Okay, oh yeah, and then one other comment is that the triple sine macro synth, it's pretty fat bass. The triple triangle is also pretty cool. It's a little more lo-fi, but if you put a low pass filter on it, it'll probably sound smooth. But yeah, this triple sine, it just reminds me of the sound generator on like the SP404. You know, you get those like super fat bass sounds by using that sound generator. That's kind of the vibe here. Okay, let's see if I can figure out something to record in, and then we'll get to recording. yeah, we're going to work on this one section at a time. So I'm going to start with 11. All right, so I think I'm going to do that. Seems pretty simple. Crap, I need to adjust some settings too. Let's see. So yeah, in the MIDI settings section, so this is pretty important when it comes to recording MIDI notes from an external controller. So the way it works is you have a rec note channel, and this is a MIDI channel that's listening for notes that are coming in, and it puts them into the sequence on the M8, which is pretty cool. And there are a couple other settings that are relevant as well. But yeah, the way this works is it'll input the notes as the sequence is playing, or you can input them one at a time by just highlighting the phrase row that you want it to be in and then pressing the key. Only on channel 9 or whatever channel you specify. And then the other thing that's important here is, well, rec velocity could be important, but not for the bass line. I'm just going to have all the notes be the same volume, or velocity, I mean. And then this one's important too. So rec, delay, and off. This is going to capture, as the sequence is playing and you're inputting notes, if you have these settings enabled, it can basically capture the kind of micro timing, so to speak. I mean, there's only 6 ticks per step, so it's not like super precise or whatever, but it'll basically add a delay command where you put the note in if you're playing it a little bit later than where the note would normally land. So it's not fully quantized, basically. So I want that. And then the other option is note off. And so this is going to also capture when you let go of the key, so we can activate the envelope. Or I don't know if the off command does that or the kill command does that, I forget. But either way, I'm going to put these on both, so it's basically capturing what keys I'm playing, whether it's got the micro timing on it by the delay, and when I let go of the key. So some of the bass notes can be like more sustained and then other ones can be shorter. Okay. All that yapping out of the way. Let's see if I remember how to play this. Oh, whoops. Okay, so yeah, it's adding the notes in when you have this section highlighted. So right now I have the N column highlighted, but if I have this highlighted, it's not going to add the notes. It's only when it's here. And it's going to add notes for the last instrument that you've selected. So it's got like, there's an instrument buffer basically that it remembers, and it's using the bass instrument for now. But yeah, I'm going to keep it in the V column so I can practice and figure out what I want to play. And then once I'm ready, I'm just going to move it over and it's going to start recording it. Alright, so pretty simple. And then I have to do a bass line for the other section too, but I think I might just cheat a little bit here in that this other section is just pitched down 2 semitones. So I think I can just do this again, but then have the transpose bring the notes down 2 semitones, and it should work, but let's find out. So I'm going to clone this. So it's got the same phrase that I just recorded, and then this time I'll bring the transpose down 2. Oops. I don't know, it sounds kind of funky. Maybe I just keep it where it's at. Might change this last one though. Alright, and the kick is getting a little hard to hear, probably because I have the bass in there, but the sample chops as well. So I'm going to set a envelope that's going to create kind of like a sidechain type effect so that things get a little bit quieter when the kick plays, which will make it a little bit more prominent. So to do that, I just have to go to the mod page for the, we'll start with the sample chops for the instrument, and then, oh whoops, and then go up here. And then from here, I need to add a trigger envelope. And the source of it is going to be my kick drum. There we go. And then I also need to make it target the volume. And then I'll also bring the amount way down. And so what this is going to do is, it's actually, this is a little bit too pronounced, but just to like demonstrate how it works. So it's like really ducking the sound when the kick plays. But we don't want it to be that pronounced. So I'll bring this up a little bit. And the decay controls, the decay is basically how long it takes for it to return to full volume. And then the hold can actually keep it at the lower volume for longer before the decay kicks in and it ramps back up to full volume. Here, let me mute the bass so it's a little bit easier to hear. And then put a little blank one here. So it's very exaggerated, but you bring it up to like 30 or 40. It's a lighter duck. This can keep it at a lower volume for longer, which we don't want. Maybe put it at like 2 or something. Nice. And I could make the kick a little bit louder too. And And this is something I don't mess around too much with, but I'm trying to learn more about, which is the clipping limiter behavior. So let's try doing this one that I've been messing with, which is post AD. Don't ask me what AD stands for. And then we'll jack up the amplitude, or amp. Yeah, I think that is amplitude, and see what it sounds like. So yeah, it's all about finding the sweet spot where it's not, because I don't want it to have that kind of distorted harmonics to it, but I do want it to be loud enough to where it's like really punching through the mix. But this is with the post AD limiter. Some of these other limiters sound nuts. Like, check this out. It's probably gonna sound hella loud. Actually doesn't sound bad with clip. It sounds weird, like a knock. This sounds a little distorted. So yeah, I'm pretty chill with post AD. If anyone does anyone in the chat know what AD stands for? After something? After delay? Decay? I don't even know. All right. Oh yeah, while we're talking about the kick, there are some other things I can do to create some variety in the sequence, since this thing is just kind of looping. So what I'm going to do is create some variations of the kick pattern so it doesn't sound so loopy. Okay, so yeah, what I did here was I added some nth commands, which is basically having the note skip as it goes through, as it plays the same phrase over and over again, it'll skip on certain phrases. So this one will play on to, so it won't play the first time, but it'll play the second time. So it won't play this time, but it'll play this time, won't play this time, but it'll play this time. And then the same deal for this one, except this is 1 and 3. So it'll play on the first time, not the second time. It'll play on the third time, not the fourth time. So yeah, the nth command's cool for just getting, yeah, some variety without needing to like clone a bunch of phrases and then remember what changes you've made in each one. I can just have this 30 phrase play 4 times and it'll do different things as it moves through the sequence basically. And then Sidesi's saying AT1, the attack. Is that, you're talking about like the FX command? AT? Because I think that's how that works, right? AT1, attack. Yeah, we got AT1 over here. I want to know what AD is, though. What do you think that D stands for? Destruction, dude? Oh yeah, AD. D is in Delta. But yeah, appreciate you doing the research on AT for sure. Oh yeah, I forgot to bring the bass back in. Let's see how the kick sounds with the bass also playing. So yeah, I can do the same thing. In fact, I will do the same thing that I did with the sample chops with the bass and create the envelope that ducks it out when the kick plays. So again, the kick is a little more prominent. So let's do that. Sounds pretty chill. And then I kind of want to add an open hat. This. Nice. Sidesi, thank you for doing the legwork there. Analog drive distorts the sound a bit. I get those vibes for sure. I believe that it stands for some kind of analog drive, I think. Vibe with this one. and get the timing right on this. And I'll mess with the pitch too. All right, got a little lost in the sauce there with the hi-hat, but yeah, basically what I did is I added that open hat on the last section, and then I was messing around with the timing a little bit on some of the other phrases there. So yeah, hi-hat sounds sick, kick is sounding sick, snare sounds pretty chill. We need some other layers though. Yo, Strill Life, dude, what's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for dropping by. This thing's very quiet. What's up with that? Maybe the levels are low on it? Oh, yeah. So we'll just crank it up. Keep shopping around. Yeah, I'm kind of looking for like a piano riff or something. Like the second half of this. We'll see. This sounds sick. Keep looking around here. Adjust the endpoint on this so we get a better ping pong. Or, oh, the loop point, I mean. Can't really hear how it loops, though. I'm not sure how to, like, audition the loop. Might have to just override it and go back. Not too much better, but not bad. so not a bad layer. Check one of my other folders here. This would sound pretty sick, like leading up to the snare, so it's like kind of rolling and then... So let me try working that into the sequence here. Alright, got that peppered in. would be another one to kind of add variety to the drum sequence a bit. So let's pepper this in. I was thinking about adding a guitar to this, and I kind of like this last sound. So let me, yeah, I'll just crop it out, save a new copy so I'm not messing with my old sample. So yeah, if you're not familiar with the save behavior on the M8 when it comes to the sample screen, you have two options. One of them is save and the other one's overwrite. So, or actually let me crop it first. Okay. So yeah, the overwrite is going to, as it states, overwrite it. So it'll basically make the changes over the sample. So you won't have like a copy or backup of it. It'll just change the sample with the parameters you adjusted. And then save is kind of, it's basically like save as, like on a computer. So this will prompt you with where you want to save the file to. You could save it to the same folder and that'll basically overwrite it, or you could save it to a different folder. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it in my test folder. And that's kind of like where I corral like various samples that I've edited, but I don't want to overwrite because I want to preserve how the samples, how I have them organized and saved or whatever. Okay, so we've got this guitar. Let's see if we can play it. So trying to do a little bit of sound shaping there using the bandpass filter just to kind of like isolate the frequencies that I like the most there. So yeah, not too bad of a layer. All right, hear me out on this. I think I might be able to make this work. It sounds a little wacky, but maybe with the filter on and just having it come in every now and then, it'll sound sick. Let's try it. That sounds pretty chill. we can build out the arrangement a little bit more. So let me like just have some of these extra layers come in at different like intervals and stuff. All right, so that sounded pretty chill. And I saved it, so we don't have to worry about losing it. Let's try something else then. All right, so that one's good. I'm gonna save it again. Why not? Brand new, number 2. What other samples do we have in our back pocket here? Let me check my to-do folder, see what else we can work with. Samples. Okay. Some female vocals on there. We just did this one. What's this one? Yeah, this will be fun to play on the Lo-Fi 12 XT keyboard. So I'm going to do this one, make it a little louder, and we'll put some lazy chops in, and then we will get to work. Oh, it's a little quiet. Oh man, if I normalize it, it's going to be so freaking loud. I'm just going to keep it normal. Keep it the way it is. And then I just got to add some markers to the beginning here. Okay, let's hear how those sound. Oh, can't audition the markers in the sample edit screen. Bummer. This just plays the pitches. But it's okay. So I'll just override it. Go back out. And then I have to set it to slice 01 file. And then the slices start at C1 on the MIDI controller, so I gotta go all the way left. I gotta do a couple things though. First thing is, I want to be able to press the button and it plays the slice all the way through. So just like before, I gotta change the envelope to max out the decay, sustain, and release. So it's just infinite. Or not infinite, but it plays for a long time. Also want to change the attack because I did not hit these slices at the zero transient, zero slice marker. What's it called? 0 point crossing. That's what I'm trying to think of. Okay. So see, pop at the beginning, bring it up, pop is gone. Okay, so normally I would put some slice markers down and then start building a kit around it, but we're going to do the opposite of that. I'm just going to build a drum kit, and then I'll just play the slices over once I've got the kit assembled. So let's go ahead and do new chain here, and just start shopping around for some old drum sounds. It'd be nice if I had a sliced break that I could use, but I'm not sure where I would find that. So let me just do one shots, as we are wont to do. Maybe this. Oh, and that's at 120 BPM, which is no bueno. We'll just start at 90, and I'll probably switch it up in a little bit. And then we'll do kick next. This one's interesting. Kind of has like a hi-hat on it, which I'll probably actually get rid of so it doesn't throw off the timing of the hi-hat one-shots that I use. And let's go out the gate heavy with the amplitude. Oy. Clip's not bad. Okay, let's find a hi-hat. This one's got something weird going on at the end. But I think with the envelope, we can like kind of shave that off, I guess. Let's try it out. Whoops. Oh yeah, and then if you're not familiar with the quick fill shortcut, whoops. Basically, yeah, if you highlight a selection, so Shift, Option, Option, you've got like this whole thing selected. And then if you hold Option and you press left, you can basically use different quick fill configurations. So this is fill 1x. And if you keep pressing left, it'll do different ones, 2x, 3x, 4x, whatever. You can also press right and it'll do random ones, which is, it can be good to get like something quick kind of sketched out or whatever. But right now I just want to do 2x. So I can just hear it play over and over again so I can shape the envelope for it. I'm still hearing it. Maybe I can use like the high pass filter to kind of filter it out. It's not bad. Dude, I love putting that degrade on the hi-hat. Just gets it a little bit dirtier. And then lower the pitch a little bit too. So this is pretty basic, but yeah, let's see if we can play some sample chops over this. Whoops. Oh yeah, I have to select the instrument. Nice, so that'll be the first part. Okay, and then yeah, since I have the rec note channel set up, I can just play it right in. Although the one thing that you are missing with this, which maybe I just haven't figured out how to do it, is to have kind of a lead in. Like, you know how normally on other groove boxes you'll do the, you know, it'll play like dun, 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 and then it starts playing. So with this, if I just press play, it's just gonna get right into it. Oh, you know what I could do actually? I could do it from this one and then start playing it once the phrase ends. So maybe that's the workaround. And then yeah, it did these too. I'm surprised there's no delay commands in here though. I guess I was hitting everything right on the quantized dot there. All right, so now let's do the drums in a little bit more of a interesting fashion. So instead of just having it tit 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 tit, we're gonna play in something else. So yeah, the way the rec note channel works is it's listening to the last instrument that you selected basically. So I have to select the hi-hat. And so this is C4, which is the original pitch of it. The only other thing I want to do, which is unrelated to, or actually it is related to the M8. So I want to turn on velocity sensitivity so that as I'm tapping these hi-hats in, they're coming in at different velocities basically. And yeah, to do that, I have to go to setting and then here rec velocity. We'll turn this on. I don't like it to be on for like sample chops and bassline and that sort of thing, but I feel like for percussion, especially the hi-hat, it's important to have this on. And then I have to do something on the Lo-Fi 12XT as well. So there is a velocity sensitivity option here, which is on the pad screen or pad settings. And then we'll set it to linear. Okay, so now we do light taps, heavy taps. Not so bad. All right, back to M8. And then we'll do, just have to jump into the phrase. And the other thing I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to set up a bunch of phrases and record basically like a long take, and then maybe just use like certain phrases of it. So not necessarily going to use all these, but I'm going to tap it out and see what I like the sound of, basically. Nice, so that definitely works. And then just like before, I'm going to do that kind of like hacky start it just before the first phrase starts. Man, it's capturing a very wide range of these. These velocities are sort of crazy. Some of them are super quiet and some of them are very easy to hear. All right, not too bad. And let's do something with the kick too. Oh yeah, and then something I should have done with the hi-hats actually that I forgot to do is I'm going to do this like double BPM trick, which will basically get me a little more resolution on the sequence. So what I got to do here is crank up the BPM, and we're going to go back to grade school math class here. What's 90 times 2, class? It's 180, right? Okay. And then I also need to change the groove so that it has twice as many ticks per step. So right now the sequence is going to move through twice as fast, but it's also got twice as many ticks, which is going to basically slow it back down. So it says 180 BPM, but it'll play like it's 90, as I'm going to demonstrate right now. Doesn't sound like it's 180. And this will make it so that I can have more space between each note to do that kind of like delayed micro timing, unquantized type stuff, which will be useful for the kick drum. It would have been useful for the hi-hat too, but I forgot to turn it on, so that's that. But yeah, let me check up in the chat here. So TD is asking, can M8 lo-fi? Dude, it certainly can. It certainly can. I'll show you in a second. Scooby D2 says, hola, been on a Curtis Mayfield vibe. Drop the tuneful singing, please. Dude, heck yeah. Dude, Curtis Mayfield. That's what's up. I think I've got maybe one of his records, perhaps. Maybe another. I feel like those are ones that are a little bit harder to come by. Or maybe more expensive. But yeah, so TD's asking, can it lo-fi? And it certainly can. And I have a fun example for you, I think. Let me, here. I'm going to save this really quick, and then I will show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to load up a different project. This is a beat that I was playing earlier today. So yeah, pretty chill vibes here. But basically, the M8 has this parameter which is called degrade, and essentially what it does is it lowers the resolution or bit rate or something, and it makes the sample sound super lo-fi. And what we can do is you can add this to like pretty much everything to make things sound lo-fi. So yeah, let me do that. I'm actually going to do it through a, what you call it, MIDI mapping. Yeah, let me do this here. Okay. I'm going to do it through MIDI CCs. It's going to be cool. Watch this. There's nothing there. Degrade. I already did that. Oops. All right, we're almost there. Okay, that should do it. So now I'm going to play the pattern. And you're going to hear it get super lo-fi. Watch, I'll show. It's pretty lo-fi. You could add a filter too to kind of like get rid of some of those high-end artifacts. It's pretty lo-fi to me. I don't know. What do you think? So yeah, I would say if you're going for a lo-fi sound, definitely mess around with the degrade parameter. That can get you there. There's also a way to like kind of lo-fi up a sound by doing the, it's in the sample edit screen. I haven't messed around too much with it. But it's this command called downsample. So take a listen. And then I'm going to hit it with the downsample. Sounds the same. Sounds the same. Oh, there we go. So you start to get that kind of like ringing sound in it. Do it again. Once more. Womp womp womp. Yeah, we kind of like lost all the melodic content there. Or most of it. But I can hit undo. Undo again. No. So yeah, so you can use downsample to make things lo-fi, and then you can also use the degrade parameter to make things lo-fi. So hopefully that answers your question, TD. Yeah, it gets crunchy, that's for sure. But that's, you know, that's part of the lo-fi charm, is to really get things. I mean, yeah, I think the balance with lo-fi is you don't want it too crunchy, which is where the filter comes into play, where you can kind of shave off some of those higher end artifacts. But yeah, it's kind of a delicate balance of like making sure it's not too crispy, unless that's what you're going for. If so, then by all means. Okay, so we're gonna lose changes, get back to what we were working on here. Oh yeah, and I was gonna play the kick on this. Dude, thanks, Drill. I appreciate that. Dang, I'm kind of curious how this works. So the Lo-Fi 12 XT, it has this like roll function where basically if you're holding one of these directional pads and you press the button for the sample, it'll do like a roll basically. I wonder how it records that into the sequence though. Like I don't think it can capture multiple notes per step, but I am kind of curious about that. So let's do some experimenting here and see what it does. Oh man, I totally screwed that up. Yeah, whoops, did not mean to do that. I didn't think it was going to loop back around, but it did. Whoopsies. Yeah, it definitely does not capture it with the same resolution, which does not surprise me. I was just curious what that would do. All right, let's go back to channel M8. You are now watching M8 television. But yeah, Still Life saying, I think I'm going to work on setting up my new music creation and sitting area in my house today. I hate sitting at my desk doing it. Maybe that will encourage me to do some lives too. Yeah, man, creating a separate space to create music, I think, is definitely one of the important parts about it, is making sure you've got a space that like inspires and motivates you. So yeah, whatever space you're using, make sure you got some cool pictures hanging up. Make sure the vibe is right for sure, because that all has to do with, yeah, the way you create. I think the environment is very important. So yeah, man, hopefully you set up something sick and get on the live, dude. That'd be dope. Okay. So I think maybe the bass line is next. Dude, heck yeah. That's what's up. Yo, Sidesi. Got the walk-in closet? Dude, that sounds dope. It's like, dang. That sounds like a whole music room, basically, which is chill. Oh, you know we gotta add an open hat too. So let me try and do that. I love me a open hat. Pretty chill. Oh yeah, actually, this let me do the sample chops. I do want to do like a second section after this. So we'll do 12 and 13. Dude, yeah, thanks for stopping by, Sidesi. Later. All right, so now we got a 4-bar pattern instead of 2-bar. Sounds pretty chill. And we'll do the bass line next. Trying to get that bass sound in just right. Gotta finesse it a little bit with the envelope, etc. But yeah, Flex Vandy writes in and says, "Are you using true sound or amplified headphones?" I'm not sure. I have a pair of headphones. They're Audio Technica. These are the ATH40X. I don't know. Here, let me check actually. It says ATH M50X. So I'm not actually sure if those are amplified headphones or true sound headphones, but they work pretty well. I mean, they're definitely not like, I don't know, I feel like there's like special headphones that are like good at giving you like a monitor type signal. I think these are a little bit more commercial, I guess, in a sense, but they work out pretty well. So Audio-Technica has done well for me. And then Still Life saying, Jay, what's your limit for working on a composition in one sitting before hearing the same thing starts to drive you crazy? I have to take breaks and come back a lot of times or work on something else. Yeah, man, there's definitely that sort of thing that sort of, I think it's called like listening fatigue or ear fatigue or something. But yeah, for me, it doesn't affect me too much. But yeah, maybe if I'm getting to a point where I've been working on the same pattern for, I don't know, maybe like 45 minutes or an hour, that's where I'm kind of like, hey, I need to try something else or listen to something else or take a break. And I like to take breaks between too. Like you don't see me do that on stream because I'm just here the whole time. But yeah, like if I'm working on stuff like off camera or whatever, I'll like grab a snack, you know, do something, take a little bit of a break and come back and kind of work on stuff. So yeah, it's good to periodically just pause, you know, maybe every 30 minutes or 45 minutes perhaps. I feel like at an hour, I kind of am at that point sometimes where I just got to switch it up. In fact, that's probably why I started working on this beat and stopped the old one, because I was like, dang, I've been listening to this for a while. So that's kind of my go-to there, maybe like an hour, 45 minutes or something. Just had to jazz up the bass line a little bit, threw in an extra note there. So that's what's up. Oh yeah, and then Strilife saying, missed the first beat. Also, I think the frustration sets in on me because it's not coming out how I wanted to. Yeah, man, that can be a tough one too. If you just can't quite get the sound right, then might be good to just, yeah, save it, put it away, try working on something else perhaps. But yo, what's up, Gigi? How's it going, man? Appreciate you saying that. What's cracking? Jamming for hours. That's how we do. Dude, holy crap. I just realized this stream's been going for like 2 hours and 37 minutes. It's kind of nuts. I'm going to definitely finish this beat though. So we're going to keep rocking. What else we got? Oh yeah, bro. For sure. Dude, GG. Congratulations, man. Getting in on the Model 2 pre-order. That's what's up. Dude, the Model 2, it's primo. Let me tell you. And I know the feeling. Like, I came from Model 1, or version 1. And I love that goofy look. Or not goofy, I shouldn't say. But I love the unique aesthetic of it. But this thing is just like... It just feels like such a primo device, dude. It's like very... I mean, it's definitely way more sleek and kind of modern, I guess, as opposed to the Model 1's more like kind of futuristic and has a different look and vibe for sure. But yeah, this thing is just freaking dope, dude. It just feels like $1 million. Yeah, the battery is way bigger. USB-C is dope. So yeah, man, I am happy for you, dude. That is what's up. Hopefully you get that soon and you can get rocking. And when you have both of them too, you know, maybe try linking them up and seeing if you can get some cool stuff going there. But yeah, definitely selling Model 1. I'm sure you'll make someone happy too to be able to use that device while you got the Model 2. That's all I'm saying. Twice the tracks, dude. Twice the polyphony. That's what's up. I feel like this would sound sick, but I'm gonna kind of crop it a little bit so we don't get that delay in there. That should be fine, and then I'm going to save it in my test folder, you know where. Okay, and then now I can put my own delay on it and get it rocking. We have filter. So just wanted to bring the levels down a little bit so it's not too prominent and in your face. Because I feel like with the horn sample, sometimes if you're not using the filters and the levels right, sometimes it's just like, it's all you can focus on because it's a little too loud. But this sounds chill. I wonder what this sounds like pitched very far down. Oh, whoa. Dude, I opened up the sample edit screen. I was not expecting this much. I have to chop this boy up. Hit it with the lazy chop. GG saying, Jay, what are your thoughts on programming B sections on the M8 for change-ups? How do you approach that? Yeah, that's a good question. Let me think here. Yeah, I feel like the way the song page works, it's pretty easy to configure stuff like that. Like, because you can just copy and paste certain sections, like the drums can be the same, and then you could have the sample chops come in like later. So yeah, I mean, the structure of the song page is pretty modular. As far as like going about with B sections, there's a couple things you can do. Like, of course, different sample chops are always going to be useful in that kind of situation. You could do like some, you could put like a filter on the sample as like the B section too. You could try different pitches. Like if you have a slice sample, something that I really like doing is you've got all the slices, but if you put in this PIT command, pitch, so this is on the instrument page in the FX section. you can just like drop everything down a couple semitones or whatever. Actually did this on the last beat too. I just pitched everything down for like the other half of it. And so then you can kind of clone it. Oh crap, I actually kind of screwed that up. Let me try that one more time. So I'm going to deep clone it. So we'll go shift, how do you do that? Shift option, edit. So that's going to clone the phrases and the chains. And then now that I've got these are all the pitch -2, basically. And then in 10, I will have the pitch be regular. So I'm going to delete all these pitch commands. Shoot, that was not what I meant to do. Okay, and so now we can kind of use this pitch down version as the B section, sort of. Not super smooth, but you kind of get the idea there. So different pitches using the PIT command can be a good way to switch things up a little bit, especially for like a shorter B section like that. Oh yeah, deep clone's sick, man. It's like, yeah, it clones the chain and the phrases so that you basically get, yeah, a whole new version of these to kind of mess around with instead of needing to clone each one. It does it all at once, so it's pretty sick. And that could be a way to create that variation too for your B section, is to, yeah, deep clone and then just make some changes there. Pitch can do it. And then, yeah, as far as like other transitions and stuff, it can be a little bit tricky. I feel like it does get to be a bit time consuming to have to go into each phrase and kind of make changes and stuff. So I usually don't do too much of that. You could also do the render too. That's a way to kind of like record things being different and just capture it all as a single sample. In fact, I have a video coming out tomorrow that talks about using MIDI CCs, which you might be able to use to create those kind of like B sections too, especially with the filter, because you can basically control the filter externally, and then you can render the sample or render the recording as a sample so that you can throw that into your sequence. So that's kind of like a bunch of random thoughts about B sections and stuff, but I don't know, hopefully that gets you some ideas. And by no means would I consider myself an expert of the B section. I usually just create stuff that kind of like loops over and over again, but that's how I try to approach it basically. And then FlexBandy's saying, how's the M8 switch mod on the fingers during long sessions? Debating performing surgery on mine. The M8 switch mod. Oh, I see what you mean. Switching out the these things. It's actually quite easy, dude. I was gonna say I can show you what it's like. You know, in fact, I will. I'll do this. Hopefully this doesn't like totally jack up my M8, but I'm gonna show you how simple it is. It's quite easy. Okay, we back. So yeah, basically you don't really need much to change the switches on this thing. You can see I've got like this bag that has these low pro keyboard switches, the ambient chocks. I think these are actually the switches that the M8 came with, and I switched them out. And then as far as like pulling them out goes, it's not that hard at all. And you've probably already noticed that I don't have the keycaps on them, so removing the keycap is pretty simple. You need this special tool. Here, let me turn the M8 screen off. Yeah, so you use this tool, And basically it's got two sides to it. This side, this is for removing the keycap. You basically space it out like this, and then you put it like over the keycap, and then you let go of it, and it sort of like snaps in. And then from there, you just pull straight up, and it'll take the keycap off. And then this is for removing the switch. So you basically just have to pinch, once you've got the keycaps off, you put this in, and then you like pinch it. Oh man, it's kind of hard to do. Wait. Here, I'll do this one. Uh-oh. Yeah, so it is kind of a pain in the butt, I guess, but it's like a very quick process. And then, yeah, bring it over. All right, let's see what happens when I pull it out. Nope, didn't do it. You have to like pinch it kind of tight. It's been a while since I've done this. Doesn't want to come off. Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt, I would say. But you only have to do it once. There's like some kind of groove in there that you're looking for. Dang. Yeah, if you remove the faceplate. I agree. So yeah, I gave it some attempts here and it was kind of difficult to do. I'm not going to do it further for fear of damaging my M8. But you get the idea. You just have to use that tool. And it's pretty easy to get on Amazon. If you just look up like switch remover tool or keycap remover tool or whatever, it'll be like the first thing that comes up. And then you can be a psycho like me and keep the key caps off, or you can leave them on, whatever you prefer. So hopefully that gives you some insight into how simple that is. It's not too bad really, just, and there's plenty of videos online about how to do it too. Like I think the way that I learned to do it is I watched, oh man, what's that guy's video? It's like All My Friends Are Synths, I think is the name of the channel or what he goes by. And he has a video where he talks about like different switches and stuff. So very easy to do. Okay, we were looking for some more layers here. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. I found this sample and I wanted to chop it. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, this thing. You know what? I don't even feel like putting the slice markers in here. So what I'm going to do instead is we can use the STA command to chop it without even needing to add slice markers. So it's quite convenient. I just got to figure out what pitch I want this to be really quickly. It's kind of hard to tell. Let me see if I can get it by itself. I don't know why I'm using detune. That's pretty close. Nice. Okay. So, and then, yeah, let me just add some STA commands here to kind of slice it up a little bit. That sounds pretty sick, but we'll switch it up. Might even be able to put a filter on it. Nice, and that was all through the power of the start command, STA, which is sick. Didn't even have to throw in any slice markers, just kind of just put random values down. And you can even do like sort of like in between things too. Like I was just doing on the quarter note, but you could throw in like other ones. Nice. So a lot of cool stuff you can do there. But yeah, let me check up on the chat here. Dude, D0 Beats, what's up? Welcome. How's it going? And then Ineffable Twaddle says, I just got here, but if you get to a good breakpoint, would you mind explaining if/what you're using the lo-fi unit behind the screenshot for? Yeah, man, totally. Here, speaking of, let me turn it off. This thing, I was just using it to play the sample chops. So this is one of the mini samplers that I have and use and love dearly. And yeah, I just basically have it sending MIDI notes on channel 9, which is the rec note channel. And then from here, I just play the chops. Whoops. So like this. That's pretty much it, is what I'm doing with it, is using it as a, yeah, MIDI keyboard, basically. I mean, I can send CCs through this too, but these knobs, like, they kind of suck, to be honest with you. So it's not great for doing, yeah, if I want to do CC stuff, like map the filter. Like, for instance, I'll do that. We'll do DJ filter, and we'll map it to this. Yeah, the values kind of jump all over, so it's not a smooth, like, I don't know. If I had the P6 plugged in, it would probably sound a lot better. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm using this for, is MIDI keyboard, and then maybe CC if I choose to want to do some kind of live performance type stuff once I finish working on the beat. That's pretty much it, though. All right, so let's just double check here. Where are we at? It sounds pretty cool when layered with the snare. So I might try putting some of those down and do maybe like a render to spare myself using an entire track for this, but we'll see. All right, so I'm gonna render this hit in with the snare, just so it's not taking up a whole track by itself. Let me do that really quickly here. And then once I have that rendered, I'll be able to just use track 20, the snare track, to have this sample go in, and then not need to have track 80 be wasted on something that's just gonna play with the snare. But actually, let me take a look at chat here. Yep. And then Strolife saying, finally got some knobs for the Lo-Fi 12 XT. Does it make the user experience any better in your opinion? Hate that the MIDI signal's all jumpy like that. Yeah, it really does suck, man. These knobs are like, I'm not happy with them, to be honest with you. But it's all good, because we make it work. But yeah, so Strolife, you're talking about these. So this is basically just a, this is a knob cover from this pocket operator case that I have by Beatmaker's Boutique, and it actually works out pretty well. Yeah, I just slapped it on because I had these lying around. I wasn't really doing anything with them, so that's what these two are. And then, bro, this thing, get off. Oh man, it's kind of hard to pull off this thing, dude. This, I don't even remember where I got this from. This was like, I think I bought something on Amazon or something, and it came with a screw, and this is what the screw had on the end of it, maybe to like prevent the sharp point from like pointing or whatever, or I don't know, you know what I mean. So it's threaded on the inside, but I was like, yeah, maybe I'll just throw these over the knobs on the Lo-Fi 12 XT and see if it works. And guess what, bro, it works great. So that's me just upcycling some of this random crap that I keep around for some reason. But yeah, it's been pretty good. I like having stuff on top of it because, yeah, you're right, if you don't have anything over it, it's kind of hard to pinch it. You sort of it can create a lot of fatigue, is what I'll say. So it's been working out pretty well, I think. Oh yeah, so I want to render this. So I'm going to highlight, press edit twice, beep bop boop. And then for this one, I don't need to do anything real time, so we're just going to quick render it. Ah, shoot, I forgot. It's going to do... What is up with that? I only selected these two, but I saw it playing these as well. Dang it. Let me make sure that it didn't render too much there. All right, so when you render, it creates a new sample. Oh, nice. Cool. So these are the snares that have that extra layer on them. And actually what I'm going to do with this is I'm still going to use the other snare sample that I have, but I will play this too at certain intervals just to kind of switch it up a little bit. Okay. So I'll just crop that because it's really all that I want. Override it. And then I was going to rename it, but I'm not going to do that. Okay. And so now that I have this render that has both the snare and this whatever sound that I found, I can go back to, let me clear this out too. I can go back to the snare track here, which is 20, and I've got these instrument 01 is the snare, but now I can switch this for the render. Sounds a little quieter though, so I gotta jack it up a little bit. So that's a glimpse into the resample workflow. That was a very basic use case, which is just, yeah, combining a snare with like a different sound to like kind of have something in the background or whatever. But you could do that with like a lot of different aspects of this device. If you have different tracks playing, combine them into one and then use that new sample instead of using multiple tracks for multiple instruments or whatever. It's kind of like a cornerstone of the workflow on this thing once you start getting super efficient with your tracks and you want to like maximize the number of sounds you're using. Me, I'm pretty basic, so I'll sometimes combine things like that, but for the most part, I'm just like okay with burning a track, doing, you know, just the hi-hat or whatever. Like I don't need to, like these are my drums here. This is kick, snare, and hi-hat, or snare, kick, and hi-hat. And if I wanted to be super duper efficient, I could render these down to a single sample too, and not have 3 tracks for the drums. But I think it's good to have them separate, because if I want to like mute out the snare or the hi-hat or whatever, I can do that because they're independent. Once you commit things to a render, you're kind of like using that. I mean, you can always come back to these, but it's, yeah, it sort of like puts you in that lane and it's hard to bring it back unless you keep like the phrases saved or whatever. So that's kind of the resample render mentality and workflow if you're interested. And then, yeah, Still Life saying, nice, yeah, pinching those knobs gets old real fast. I know what you mean. But yeah, man, definitely want to get some knob covers on this thing to make it worth your while, I would say. All right, what else we got? Dude, hell yeah. I'm gonna try using it. I'm probably gonna have to filter it and adjust the levels, but I think I can make it work. Not too bad. I kind of want to create some more movement in it though. So I'm going to modulate the pan so it's moving a little bit in the stereo field just to give it a little bit more uniqueness. So yeah, you can set the mod destination of any open mod slot. So I'm going to do pan, and then, yeah, I don't know what shape or oscillator would be best for this. I never used drunk before, but that sounds pretty sick. It's kind of like, it seems like it's sort of random, but it also is not just jumping super wildly. It's like, it's kind of a smooth random, maybe? I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it. Whoops. Yeah, basically I'm trying to add this like trigger envelope to do a little kick sidechainy type stuff. And I'm not doing it very gracefully. All right, I have an idea, which is related to something Gigi was talking about earlier, and that is to create some kind of B section, sort of. So I think I'm going to test this out and see if I can get it to work. And what I'm going to do is I want to do a render of the sample chops, but also control like the DJ filter to kind of get like sort of a wow, 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 kind of like a SP404 knob turning type vibe. And then I want to turn that into a sample, which I then work into the song. So I think this is how you do it. You basically have a section. Oh wait, oh yeah, it's fine if the drums are playing. So yeah, then you would highlight it and render it. But first, before I do that, I need to map some controls, which I've already done the DJ filter cutoff to the touchscreen. So I think that'll work. Maybe I could increase the resonance though to get a little bit more of a pronounced effect to that. All right, smudged up my screen, but it's okay. So yeah, I think this will work. And then basically, yeah, you highlight the phrases, and I want to do a bunch so that I can have like basically some extra takes of it, because I might not get it in the first go. Each of these is 4 phrases long, so it's 4 bars, and then I have 4 of them, so it's 16. So I'll probably do something that sounds halfway decent across all that. So you highlight, press edit twice, and then from here you can do, yeah, not quick render, not external USB, because we don't really care about what's going on in the external. For this, we just want to do real time. And then once I press edit, it's going to start playing, and then that's where I'll want to do like the effects and stuff. So, oh wait, actually one other thing I want to do before I do that is I want to reset the DJ filter. Oh, I already did. So it's at 80. It's in the middle. And that'll be good because I want it to start the way it would normally sound and then kind of add the sweep or whatever. The filter sweep. Okay, so we're going to do real time and then we will get to it. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so let me turn off or reset the DJ filter. All right, so I just rendered, let's do the math here. So there's 4 phrases, 4 chains, so 16 phrases. And what that means is that I can go to my render, which is a new sample instrument. And then it's not gonna have the drums or anything in it, it's just the sample chops. And that was all just me wiggling my finger, basically. And what I can do is now if I go slice, and I set this to 16, basically this means that each slice that I put on the grid is going to play one of the phrases, because there's 16 phrases, or not 16 phrases. Yeah, there are 16. It was 4 chains with 4 phrases each, so there's 16. So I can just drop a note for this instrument at the beginning of any phrase, and it'll play that section of it, which will make it easy to kind of pepper in. So for instance, let's just do it on this one just to make it simple. So I cloned it because I want most of it to be the same, but let's say I just want these 2 phrases at the end to be part of that like kind of performance take that I did. So we'll clone, or we don't even need to clone them. I'll just go to an empty one, 18, and then 19. And then for these, I just need to put in that instrument that I just created. So 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do 4. So let's hear it. Not bad. Forgot about that like Arab vocal thing that I added there, which sounds sick, by the way. So yeah, so that's kind of like the render workflow, I guess. Is yeah, you can capture kind of like real-time rendering some of the FX changes and stuff, whether that's through using the touch screen, or you could map CCs, which basically lets you turn a knob on a different controller and it'll affect certain parameters. And that was just with the DJ filter, but I could have done something with the degrade parameter to make it kind of lo-fi, something with pitch maybe, I don't know. So just to give you some ideas, and yeah, I have a video coming out tomorrow that's going to explain MIDI CCs and maybe give you more insight into like what you might be able to record as kind of like a live take, which you can then pepper back into the sequence. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that process. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty all right about this beat. So I think at this point, that's my second beat, and it's like 3.5 hours I've been going. So I think I'm going to call it at this point. But yeah, just wanted to say thanks everyone for sticking around, hanging out, keeping the chat active. Big shout out to Strill Life, Gigi, and all the other peeps that said what's up and asked questions and stuff. I always appreciate it. And yeah, if you're interested in learning more about M8 stuff, definitely check out the video tomorrow about MIDI CCs. And hope to catch you on another stream. But until then, I will say peace.